and today I am here to review the new book. It actually just came out today. You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. Names are not my strong suit, guys. Oh, my neighbor's doing exercises outside. Lovely. Can you not look over here so I don't feel self-conscious? Thank you. I actually read this book at the end of last year. I got an arc of it, and I was so super excited to review on it because I fell in love with this book, guys. I honestly cannot say enough good things about it. Recently, I would say like probably towards, again, the end of last year, got back into reading romance. I hadn't read it for a while, and I feel like I didn't really read a lot of it. I mean, mostly, like I said, I mainly read YA stuff, and then I took a dip into new adult for a while there, and we all know how heavy new adult is, so it was nice to read some romance books. I feel like the updated version of modern romances is very nice because they do without all the like annoying kind of sexist and tropes that, you know, like women can't do anything, or like women have to be at home and stuff like that, and like the man is like so cool, and like even if like she doesn't want to go out with him initially, like he's gonna wear her down. Like that is gone. That is not the modern day romance, and I feel like there's a lot of really good romances out there. This one in particular caught my eye though because it kind of has an interesting take on everyone's favorite enemies to lovers trope. This is lovers to enemies back to lovers potentially, which sounds so intriguing, guys. Like I was so interested to read that because everyone loves enemies to lovers. Like that is bread and butter for so many of us. So going from lovers to enemies I thought was a really fun take on things, and this is actually Sarah's first novel, which I found super impressive because it is, honestly, I read a lot of romance books last year. Like I said, I read Hating Game, I read The Unhoneymooners, I read Meet Cute, like so many, and they were really good, but this one I think was my favorite because it was just so different and funny, and it really read like you were watching like a really witty rom-com. So the main plot, like I said, is this whole lovers to enemies kind of storyline where Naomi and Nick are engaged. They've been together for a while now and they're getting married, but the book is from Naomi's perspective, and we quickly learn that she is not happy with the setup she has. It's not necessarily like either of them are bad people. It's just that Naomi feels like she has to put on this persona that she's kind of sick of to fit into like Nick's world. Like his family's very rich, so she has to kind of be like this perfect fiance, like look very nice, her hair has to be a certain style, and not through like Nick expecting it or anything like that. Like that's the thing I like too. It's not like Nick was like a dick. That rhymed, so that's why I said it. And she feels very much like she has to tone down like her real feelings and get along with his bratty mom and just not do anything, kind of become like a shell of who she is. And lo and behold, what we find out is that she thinks she's been hiding this very well, but they have kind of a huge blow up towards the start of the book, and she realizes that Nick isn't exactly as happy as he has been portraying himself to be, which I think was really interesting because it kind of showed you how first person perspectives and how like your own perspective can be skewed, and how like you can think that you're hiding something really well, and you can think that someone else doesn't care at all and like they're fine, and then you find out that like you A, haven't been hiding things well, and B, like this other person has a whole other kind of issues going on that you didn't know about, and they're not as satisfied as you thought they were. So what it turns into basically is like this prank war to get the other person to call off the wedding first, because whoever calls off the wedding has to, you know, pay for it and be like, I'm the one that broke up the wedding, and then the one who like gets dumped, it gets to be like the one that everyone feels bad for, and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they would do that to you, like how you're so sweet, like you don't deserve this. So they just kind of devolve into this all-out prank war that is so hilarious to watch. Like the additions that they have to it just are so funny because I feel like they're those kind of pranks for the most part that, like, for me, I like pranks that don't hurt people and that don't like manipulate people emotionally, and like I feel like that's why I really enjoyed this prank war, is like it wasn't necessarily rude bad things, like it was just kind of ridiculously funny things, like that you could see a couple that are so in love but like don't realize it yet are doing to each other. And what you realize along the way is like they start to act more and more like their true selves. They're not trying to live up to this persona anymore of who they think they should be and who their family expects them to be. And the more they do that, the more that they realize, hey, like we're kind of starting to fall in love with each other all over again, but this time it's with our real selves. Like there's no like painted persona, there's no hiding our emotions, and I think it was just so cute. And for a romance, I think it also has a really nice message of showing that, like, I think a lot of times with romances, and especially like growing up, like the Disney movies we watch and everything, you see love at first sight, they love each other, everything works out, it's all hunky-dory after that. This one shows that there is a lot of love between these people, but love isn't always enough. Like, you have to put in the effort. You have to let the person know that you're thinking of them. You have to do small gestures, you know, send them flowers if they like that thing. Write a little note that says, like, I'm thinking of you. Clean off their car in the morning sometimes if you're going to work first. Just like little stuff like that can make a big difference in a relationship. And what I really liked with this book in particular is that I feel like so many times we idealize love as like being able to know what the other person is thinking, or like the other person knowing what you're thinking without even having to say anything. And while that's great, I don't think you can expect that to always be the case, especially if you're not being honest about how you're feeling. And I think that's a thing that Naomi herself, and Nick, but Naomi herself mainly we saw because it's from her point of view, had to realize that, like, there are times when you're upset, and yeah, it might be easier to just be like, oh, nothing's wrong, and just bottle it down, but that's not going to help in the long run, because then your partner doesn't know how to help you, or even that you're upset, and it kind of just all ruminates and stuff like that, and that can really affect a relationship. So I think it was nice to have that reminder of, like, you can't always expect like relationships to be as effortless as they appear on TV shows and movies and how they're depicted in like romantic comedies. And I think it's really about communicating and building a team together. And I think it just was a really, really great message to see, especially in a romance book, to see that, like, it wasn't all about, like, oh, he could sense without me even saying anything that I needed to leave or something. Like, it was like, literally there were times where she's like, I'm not going to say anything, and then she stops and she's like, wait, if I don't say anything, then, like, he's not going to realize it, and, like, we're actually trying to be better and stuff like that. And I think it was just a really nice message in general, you know? Communication is key. Communication is always key, and I think sometimes we think it's easier to keep things to ourselves, but, you know, it can cause problems in the long run. I also loved Naomi and Nick. Like I said, I like that they didn't make Nick like this, like, dick. He was actually nice. He was just very, I think, unaware in the beginning, and also keeping a lot to himself, you know, which we didn't realize as we're from Naomi's point of view, that you only see it from her way, and you really did, like, root for their relationship, which I think was really nice, you know, and wanted them to get back together, because you kind of saw, like, how they were really, really good for each other. And I think it was just a really funny, so funny, guys, with the prank wars and stuff. The stuff they would do to each other was just, like, the one-upsmanship is it's on point, and just so cute, so adorable, and, like I said, very realistic for a romantic novel, I think, which I think is really nice, especially, you know, again, in this day and age where so much stuff is romanticized and idealized to a point where it would never be realistic, and it's going to give you like, expectations that could never be met. So I really, really love this book. I think it is probably my favorite romance book I have ever read. It is so adorable. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely one of my favorite reads of, I mean, I read it last year, but since it came out this year, I'm going to consider it one of my favorite reads of this year, since the book was published this year. And I just, yeah, highly recommend it if you're looking for something to read while we're all stuck inside. And I think it was just, it was different, but it had a lot of those, like, romantic comedy. Like I said, it felt like you were watching, like, a really good movie or something like that. Like, it just went so well, and the characters were so interesting, and to see them kind of go through, I mean, really, like, in the beginning you realize, like, she's really, like, suffering from, like, depression almost, you know, of just hiding, like, who she is and not feeling things and stuff like that. So to see her get that back, there's also, like, a really cute line at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but just, like, you find out why, like, Nick did a lot of the stuff he did, and, like, how he could see that she was, like, depressed and everything, and was trying to, like, get her. Like, it didn't matter if she came back to him, it just mattered that she came back and was, like, alive again, and, like, could feel things and was happy and was smiling, and I was just like, Nick, you're so cute. So I freaking love this book. Highly, highly recommend it. And yeah, it came out today, so get it, put it in your carts, download it on an ebook if that's what you read, and let me know what you thought if you did read it. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!